hours ago. So, just how tall is each actor who plays an Avenger in the MCU's Avengers Endgame? It's a great question. It's hard to tell how tall an actor is when they are up on a big screen. Sometimes they look a lot taller than they really are, and sometimes viewers believe the opposite. It's not a surprise that the tallest Marvel actor is Dave Bautista or that the shortest Marvel actor is Scarlett Johansson, but what about everyone else? It's especially hard to tell when the actors are in their roles in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, thanks to being enhanced by their superpowers and just a little CGI. So, I've taken to the task and listed 26 of the most important Avengers and how tall the actor is who plays each character. Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow, height, 5 feet 3 inches. Black Widow may be one of the toughest and most dangerous hand-to-hand combat specialists on the team. In the comics, Black Widow is described as 5'7", but ScarJo herself is a petite 5 foot 3 inches tall. Tessa Thompson, Valkyrie, height, 5 feet 4 inches. In comics, Valkyrie's alter ego Samantha Parrington is 5'7", but when she becomes Valkyrie, she grows to a powerful 6 feet 3 inches. Actress Tessa Thompson, however, is just a bit shorter, standing 5'4". Then again, she plays a much larger role on screen. Evangeline Lilly, the Wasp, height, 5 feet 6 inches. When she's the Wasp, she's a mere 1/2 inch tall, so the 5 feet 6 inches Evangeline Lilly is quite a bit taller when she appears as Hope Van Dyne in Avengers Endgame and her other appearances in the MCU. In the comics, the Wasp's alter ego, Janet Van Dyne, is 5 feet 4 inches, so Lilly isn't too far off. Tom Holland, Spider-Man, height, 5 feet 6 inches. In the comics, Spider-Man and his alter ego Peter Parker are 5 feet 10 inches, 4 inches taller than the man who plays him in the MCU, Tom Holland. The difference actually works to Holland's advantage in Avengers Endgame, as Spider-Man is also the youngest Avenger, so looking smaller than other Avengers works well for the character. We'll have to wait and see if height matters in the upcoming Spider-Man: Far From Home. Brie Larson, Captain Marvel, height, 5 feet 7 inches. The minimum height requirement for a U.S. military pilot is 5 feet 3 inches and the maximum is 6'4". Therefore, Brie Larson's 5 feet and 7 inches are perfect for Carol Danvers, a pilot who turns into Captain Marvel. She is a bit shorter than the comics version of Danvers, who stands 5'11". Denai Gira Okoye, height, 5 feet 7 inches. The 5 feet 7 inches Okoye, who also happens to be one of the fiercest warriors in Wakanda in Black Panther, doesn't have a defined height in the comics, but Denai Gira's 5 foot 7 inches seems like it would be the perfect height for a soldier and bodyguard for the King of Wakanda. Though she isn't seen much in Avengers Endgame, she's still an important part of the MCU. Zoe Saldana, Gamora, height, 5 feet 7 inches. Zoe Saldana does an amazing job as the estranged adopted daughter of the evil Thanos in the Avengers movies, fighting against Thanos with the rest of the Guardians of the Galaxy, but she is a little shorter than Gamora. The character, as described in the comics, is an even 6 feet in height. Still, at 5'7", she is one of the most dangerous women in the world. Don Cheadle, War Machine, height, 5 feet 8 inches. James Rhodey Rhodes, the man in the War Machine suit, also doesn't have a defined height, but Don Cheadle, at 5 feet 8 inches is, like Brie Larson, well within the height requirements for a military pilot, which was his job before teaming up with Iron Man and becoming War Machine. Mark Ruffalo, Hulk, height, 5 feet 8 inches. Things can get a little confusing on this one. For starters, Bruce Banner is 5 feet 8 inches in the comics, so that's perfect for Mark Ruffalo. Of course the Hulk in the MCU is huge, like 20 feet tall or something. In the comics, he's described as somewhere between 7 and 8 feet tall, at least in the early days. The Hulk has grown a lot over the years, but another measure as the old TV show. Lou Ferrigno, the bodybuilder who played the Hulk in the TV show The Incredible Hulk for 5 years in the 70s and 80s, is 6'5". Jeremy Renner, Hawkeye, height 5 feet 9 inches. Jeremy Renner is a little short for Clint Barton, aka Hawkeye, in the Avengers movies. In the comics, the sharpshooting archer is 6'3", while Renner is about 6 inches shorter than that in real life. In his case, height isn't a very important element to the character, and Renner is the perfect actor for the role. Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man, height 5 feet 9 inches. The biggest star in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is not the tallest actor in the cast, or the highest paid, initially, that's for sure. At 5'9", Robert Downey Jr. is a pretty average height, and 5 feet 9 inches seems like a perfectly reasonable height for Tony Stark. Of course, his Iron Man suit makes him taller and is listed at 6 feet 1 inch in the MCU, but a whopping 6 feet 6 inches in the comics. Anthony Mackie, Falcon, height 5 feet 10 inches. Sam Wilson, aka Falcon, was also a pilot, though in the comics, he is at 6 feet tall, and sometimes described as much as 6'2". Thus, while actor Anthony Mackie is a couple of inches shy of 6 feet even, he's not so far off. Paul Rudd, Ant-Man, height 5 feet 10 inches. So where do you start with this one? Scott Lang, the former convict who becomes Ant-Man, seems to be a pretty average height, like Paul Rudd. Of course, when he shrinks down to ant size, he's what, maybe a couple of centimeters tall. When he goes the other way though, look out. It's never really been defined, but some online guesses have him at 70 or 80 feet tall. Karen Gillan, Nebula, height 5 feet 11 inches. Not only is Karen Gillan perfect in the role of Nebula as an actress, she's almost the perfect height for the role. As Gamora's adopted sister, who shares Thanos as an adoptive father in the Avengers movies, Gamora is 6'11", just a couple inches taller than Karen Gillan is in real life. Sebastian Stan, Winter Soldier, height 5 feet 11 inches. Here's a twist. Most of the actors' heights in the Avengers are shorter than their comic book characters, but not Sebastian Stan. At 5 feet 11 inches, Stan is actually 4 inches taller than Bucky Barnes in the comics. Even when he becomes the Winter Soldier, he's a mere 5'9", which is still shorter than Stan in real life. Stan Lee, height 5 feet 11 inches. Okay, so he's not a real Avenger, but he's more Avenger than some of the Avengers in a way, right? The father of the Avengers stood at 5 feet 11 inches before his death in 2018. We miss you, Stan. Benedict Cumberbatch, Dr. Strange, height 6 feet 0 inches. Benedict Cumberbatch, with his lean physique, is one of those actors who seems taller than he actually is. While Cumberbatch is 6 feet in height, he plays the slightly taller Drive. Strange, who is listed at 6'1". Luckily, that should be no stretch for the versatile actor. Bradley Cooper, Rocket, height 6 feet 0 inches. So it's not really relevant to point out the differences between Rocket and Cooper's heights. However, the actor who voices the CGI-created character, Rocket, from Guardians of the Galaxy in both Avengers movies, Bradley Cooper, is 6 feet tall. For reference sake, Rocket is described as 3 feet 1 inch in the MCU and 4 feet even in the comics. Chadwick Boseman, Black Panther, height 6 feet 0 inches. T'Challa, King of Wakanda and the current incarnation of Black Panther, is actually 6'1", but even if that is an inch or so taller than Chadwick Boseman really is, no one is going to complain, as Boseman is the perfect actor for the role, and at this point, there is no way to see anyone else in the role. No need to split hairs, or inches, here. Chris Evans, Captain America, height 6 feet 0 inches. Before Steve Rogers was injected with the serum that made him Captain America, he was famously a 98-pound weakling. Considering he was 6'2", that's very weak. The serum added more than 100 pounds to Rogers, but his height stayed the same, making him a robust 6 feet 2 inches 220. Chris Evans may be a couple inches shy of that, but that's no matter, he's still a great Captain America. Vin Diesel, Groot, height, 6 feet, 0 inches. I am Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot. Also, the voice of Groot, Vin Diesel, is 6 feet tall, while older Groot is anywhere from 8 to 15 feet tall. Baby Groot is smaller. I am Groot. Chris Pratt, Star-Lord, height, 6 feet 2 inches. Chris Pratt is surprisingly tall at 6'2", which is perfect for playing Peter Quill, Star-Lord in the Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy, who is also 6'2". Pretty much everything about Chris Pratt is perfect for Star-Lord. While his casting may have been questioned by some at first, no one doubts it today. Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury, height, 6 feet 2 inches. Nick Fury is the man who made the Avengers happen. While he's not really a superhero himself, his is one badass dude, just like the actor who plays him, Samuel L. Jackson. At 6'2", Jackson is actually an inch taller than Nick Fury is in the comics, but there is no one else who could play the role at this point, as Jackson has made it his own. Tom Hiddleston, Loki, height, 6 feet 2 inches. Loki, brother of Thor and constant annoyance to his royal brother, seems much smaller than Thor in all the Thor movies as well as the other MCU movies that Tom Hiddleston appears in, playing the forever jealous adopted Prince of Asgard, but in reality, Hiddleston is 6'2", just an inch shorter than Chris Hemsworth and a couple inches shorter than Loki in the comics, who stands at 6'4". Chris Hemsworth, Thor, height, 6 feet 3 inches. The mighty Thor, Prince of Asgard and one of the key Avengers, is a mighty 6 feet, 6 inches in the comics. Though Chris Hemsworth is only 6'3", most can agree those 3 inches don't matter much when Thor is battling alongside his fellow Avengers and wielding his mighty hammer or Mjolnir or his newer weapon Stormbreaker. Dave Bautista, Drax the Destroyer, height, 6 feet 6 inches. Former professional wrestler Dave Bautista is one of the most outspoken members of the Avengers Endgame cast, and he is also by far the tallest. At 6'6", he towers over even Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston. Drax the Destroyer's height varies in the Guardians of the Galaxy comics, but it's usually somewhere between 6 feet 4 inches and 7'4", so Bautista's 6 feet 6 inches is pretty spot on for this monster of a creature. In case you were wondering about some of the villains in the MCU, Thanos is a 6 feet 7 inches monster in the MCU, while the actor who plays him, Josh Brolin, is 5'10". Yes, this is about average height for a man, but just a wee bit smaller than the Titan Eternal. As for Surtur, the giant, fiery villain in Thor, Ragnarok, he is a something like 1,000 feet tall and by far the tallest character in the series, though he's played by a normal-sized man, motion capture specialist Taika Waititi, who is just above average at 6 feet tall. It's doubtful that the casting directors in the MCU worry very much about height, except when it's really necessary, like Drax or Thor. But they don't ignore it either, and they've done excellent work finding the perfect actors and actresses for each role, height included. Blended from around the web. Let's block ads. Why?